All right. Well, we have a nice
Let's
little
get
group
started.
here, and it looked like you still at work. So you want to
Yeah,
get started?
work but not work. Yeah, I was wanted to
Oh,
get up out of here before they started, but oh well, that's
yeah.
what
Well,
it
we
is.
won't keep you too long, so you can get home safely. It's nice outside in Chicago,
All
but
right,
your car is bulletproof, though, right?
it is, unless all these damn haters try to try to blow my shit up. It's
You gotta
like
stay safe,
all
right?
these niggas, man. Like all the like we get like Elon's an asshole. I understand. I agree. Like, why does that make me some type of Elon supporter? Because I got a Tesla. I got a couple Teslas. I like the car. And I bought it before he started acting a true asshole. And I'm not selling it. I'm not selling them. You know, let somebody go freaking pay me everything they worth. And even still, like I like the car. Like he can, two things can be true at the same time. I don't see everybody giving up their Balenciaga or, any of these other racist assholes that be saying stuff like everybody is still wearing that. And because Elon is the ultimate asshole, we I don't know, man. But they can't even do it because like all these Model 3s and Model Ys and stuff like you be blowing up half the damn cars on the interstate. But
Yeah,
for whatever
yeah, you would.
the Cybertruck is now just synonymous with Eli. So screw all everything else and just like kill the Cybertruck. I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't even drive it that much
Yeah.
anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, you should because you have to stay safe, and it's a safe vehicle.
Oh, they all safe. Like you can't steal them. So it's like I'm fine. I mean, people gonna do what they gonna do. I stay out the way. I go home. I go to the hospital. I stay out the way.
I get it. All right. Well, welcome, ladies. Thank you for returning for round two. Literally. Okay,
Hey, the
I'm gonna
second
look
go,
at what you
round
but
two.
I
We gonna talk about round two today.
that's why I say round two.
Is that on the agenda?
But I do have leftover questions from the previous week, and I mean the
Okay.
previous conversation, and I got a couple submissions since we had our talk.
Okay.
So, without further ado, question number one: does douching or soaking in vinegar balance the vagina's pH?
No, no, no. Do not douche. Do not stick anything in your vagina. No, absolutely not. It's horrible. You will significantly increase your chance um of infection. So douching is the absolute worst thing you can do. You don't need to soak in vinegar or do any of those things. Just clean with hypoallergenic soap in that area. Keep it clean and dry. But under no circumstances do not stick any objects squirting fluids in your vagina, and do not be in the bathtub taking your finger and swirling things around in there. You are hurting yourself more than you are helping yourself. 100%.
All right. What are the health risks of bleeding after sex? Should a woman take this seriously, or should she just blow it off as it was a little rough or the partner was well endowed?
Um, it most of the time is absolutely nothing going on, but it could be an indicator that there's some type of cervical dysplasia or some type of issue too. So if you're having consistent bleeding after intercourse, then you should be examined to look at your vaginal tissues, make sure there's no polyp, fibroids, or anything that's abnormal in there that could be causing you to bleed. And then also to getting pap smears, staying up to date on your pap smears, making sure there's no cervical dysplasia there, because that's also an indication, postcoital bleeding, that there may be some cervical issues there. And then looking at all those things, and then If all of those things are normal, then start analyzing things. It may be rough sex. It may, um, be that there's some vaginal dryness issues or what have you. So it's multiple different things that you have to take a look at, um, to make sure that none of those bad things are happening. But if not, then it's not necessarily anything to worry about. It just happens.
All right. Should a woman use refresh suppositories to treat BVs, and do probiotics work to help starve them off?
So your body does a phenomenal job. I mean, an absolutely marvelous, wonderful, phenomenal job without your help. It does not need you. We live in a capitalistic society, so we can sell you pretty much anything and you'll go for it. It is a fact that the internal environment, now the external environment is different. Talk about your skin, labia, things on the external part. Absolutely wash it. Whatever you want to do, utilize it for sure. It's no different with skin care for your face or anything else. You want to make sure that you're keeping that clean, and you could use products that help to keep those clean. That's why I'm now endorsing a product that is an external spray that keeps and helps to keep you fresh. However, internally placed things for a woman, whether it be any type of whatever inside of your vagina, I'm not a proponent of it because there is a very fine balance of bacterium, normal, healthy bacterium that are in your vagina that need that actual bacterial flora to remain healthy. And when you go in there and start messing around and monkeying around with stuff, you can absolutely cause issues. As far as the probiotic thing is concerned, um, you don't need that either, to be honest. Yeah, probiotics can be helpful because they produce, bacterium called lactobacillus, which are healthy bacterium for the vagina. But to that part, your body is normally doing that. You don't want to overpopulation or growth of anything in there. So I just say there's, realize it's a capitalistic society and people will make claims to just about anything. But as far as keeping the internal environment controlled, you can do that without product, you know, and you can, simply making sure you don't douche or put any other products in there. If there's um, if you don't like the smell with your menstrual cycles, you can use menstrual cups just to make sure that the basic blood doesn't touch the vagina. If you don't like the smell of sex or issue with you having issues after sex, use condoms. Don't let them ejaculate inside your vagina. It's a base. Mix it with acid, it's going to stink. These are just natural facts. So it's multiple things that you could just do naturally without going to spend money and doing things that are not proven to regulate your internal environment.
All right. Also, ladies, if you have questions that you brought tonight, you can put them in the chat, and you can put your name in the chat if you want to ask your own question. This is a safe space, um, and we won't be immature. We'll try not to be. So you can join too. It don't have to just be me.
Yeah,
Since you mentioned menstrual cups, what are your thoughts on menstrual discs and cups?
you and that damn computer. Die. Menstrual
Can you hear me?
cups. Now I could. Whatever you just did, it was better. Um,
Oh, okay. Sorry.
that's better. Um, so I'm a proponent of menstrual cups. Um, if I were a woman, I would use a menstrual cup. Pause. But it's not. It's safe. It's just changing it regularly. Um, you know, And sometimes women don't want to stick their fingers up there, or it's too cumbersome. But it's a way to keep blood from your mixing in with your acidic environment of your vagina and to keep you kind of clean. It don't have to like soak through things because it's all going into that cup that you can remove and dislodge if you understand your anatomy and can get good at putting it in and out. So I think it works very well. It doesn't have hormone or anything else in it, so it's just a more effective tampon, if you will. Just allowing things to accumulate and catch, and then remove them, as opposed to now releasing and then catching it. So I think it's a very good way of controlling your menstrual blood flow.
And it is something that your gynecologist can show you how to use properly. Like,
Yeah, yeah, you can. Yeah, gynecologists could show you how to use it. Um, you know, it's easily explainable just from an anatomical standpoint. That knob at the top of your vagina, that little knobby thing, that's your cervix. In the middle of that knobby thing, that's where the blood's coming out. So if you got a cup, it's like this. You're gonna squeeze the cup like a taco, place it into your vagina, and then get that cup with the bag coming out towards your external environment, and get that around your cervix so that it fits or like so around your cervix. So when you bleed out of your cervix, it just goes into the bag. And then when that bag starts to get full, you go in, you reach, squeeze, and then you pull out the bag, empty it, put it back in there around the cervix, and just let it collect the menstrual blood flow. It's a very simple concept. It's just the application of putting it in, and knowing how to put it in and understanding your own anatomy. That's it.
Jasmine has a question, so
Here go here Rena go with the shits.
Jasmine, go ahead and ask your question.
Questions about cervical mucus and
Okay, so can
something.
you put that, bring Jasmine in?
Oh, she wants to come on.
Yep.
Oh, so Jasmine, you want to come on here and ask these questions?
He's gonna send it to you in a minute, and you'll see a note on your screen that says you're invited to be a speaker. He got to pull you in though.
Shit, I just sent it to her. You should have it, Jazz. There she
Okay.
goes. I know you got them written down.
I do. So I did not put this because I know you had asked like how have our lives changed since having surgery.
Mhm.
And I just remembered this week that there was something that I had noticed. So before I had surgery, I would notice like a watery cervical mucus throughout the entire month, not just during ovulation. And sometimes we would have like a brownish tint to it. And maybe that was like mostly after my period ended, like mixing with blood or old blood or whatever.
Mhm.
And then before my period started, I would have this thicker, almost like yellowish cervical mucus, but it wasn't an infection or anything because there was no odor or anything like that. But since surgery, I have not dealt with that, which is great because I was wearing a panty liner like almost every day during the month. So I was just wondering, like, what is it about fibroids that would cause the watery discharge for most days of the month, even when I'm not ovulating? And the yellowish, like, thicker discharge too, if that's related to fibroids.
It doesn't necessarily have to be related to fibroids, but in your case, you had significant submucosal involvement, so that's kind of a different surface area of the endometrium. So yeah, it can put off some different. It's not even putting it off. It's just kind of irritating the lining of the uterus. The lining of the uterus has like mucus, like it's a mucus area, and so that level of mucus will be increased somewhat if you have significant submucosal involvement of your fibroids.
Hmm.
So that's probably some of what you were seeing as well. But clear as discharge too is also just a healthy thing to show that you're hydrated and you drink a lot of water as well too. Right now you're like still in the immediate post-operative period, so your body is not where it's going to be in another 2 months or so. You're
Yeah.
still healing. You're still healing. So I wouldn't even take I would take everything that you're going through right now with kind of a grain of salt. Um, and just know that your end all be all is still a little bit of ways away.
Hmm. Okay. That was my main question. So I just didn't want
It's
to
no
clarify
way. It's no way you don't have no more questions. Everybody says we are family. Jasmine is the queen. I'm gonna give her a crown. This is Queen Question Research, ma'am,
that.
lady, ma'am.
That's true.
She will have them. It doesn't matter. Like, if we've expended 30 questions, I promise you, Jasmine got a good 5 in the deck that you ain't even think she got. She gonna pull them out 100%. She got them. 100.
Mhm. That's
That's my
true.
girl. That's my girl though. We had a good time.
But that was my main question. But while I'm here, I
What
will
I
ask
say?
another.
What I say? What I say? What I say? What the hell did I say? That a girl. I do it.
Okay, so this is not related to me, but do you happen to know any providers or surgeons that you would recommend in the DC, Maryland area for someone who's looking
or
for fibroid surgery?
for fibroid surgery?
Yeah.
I was literally just having this conversation because I've had my 2 consults today were from South Carolina and North Carolina, and they have expended everything there. It's not good. And I've had this is how I know when I talk, like, I use you guys as like metrics for what's available, right? So I'm not the vast, you know, researcher or just the person that knows everybody or whatever. Um, I don't have a vast network, but what I do is then I just kind of look at where are people coming from the most, and then I kind of deduce that they've done a lot of research in those areas, and then I figure out like, hey, it's just not a lot in the area because they've done that research. And to that point, from the DMV, I had a lot of women that come from that area, especially the Baltimore area. And like for instance, I had a white lady just came here from Baltimore. I know she did her research. She literally brought her ass and her husband up here to see my black ass to come and do her surgery or whatever. So ain't nothing there. She's done her research. I'm it. So when it comes to fibroid stuff, like I was just having this conversation today, like if I say like to someone that I'm going to recommend a person, right? That means to me that's important because if I say that, then whatever happens from that, I feel responsible.
Mm,
So and it's not like, if I'm not ensured that this person really handles things like I'd handle them, then it's very difficult for me to recommend because I have to put my name and my stamp on that. So uh, I know that there are a lot of gynecologists, many or most gynecologists don't believe in removing all the fibroids. That's already a problem to me. I
Mm-hmm.
know that many gynecologists still believe that laparoscopic or robotic biomectomies is still the best method of removing fibroids. I don't agree with that either, and I'm not trying to necessarily convince them. All I can do is just stand on my truth and stand on my reasons and what I believe in, and I let people make informed decisions. And that informed decision should be looking at the numbers. I don't have, number one, I just don't have the date, knock on wood. I haven't had anybody come back with advanced fibroid disease to where I have to operate. So thankful about that from my primary surgery. And having an open forum with social media and everything and leaving myself totally exposed and totally out there in the open. If I did have any problems with patients or any issues, y'all would expose me quick, fast, and in a hurry. Black women, y'all rough. So if it was not what it was, then it would definitely be out there. Somebody would make it their point to make sure that I'm exposed. So that hasn't happened. So to that end, I don't know many people that will do that. Um, when it comes to, and it's like, again, we talked about it, it's two different type of fibroid patients. It's people with fibroids, and then it's advanced fibroid disease like you and Cola.
Yeah.
Y'all are in a whole different category. And once you get into that realm of issue, the confidence level and the skill level plummets. So I would look at the situation that someone's in, what their fibroids are, what their goals are. You know, if it's fertility, that's a very, very delicate and sensitive thing that you got to take really, really special care and be meticulous about. Your particular surgery could have been botched, would have been botched. I promise you, you'd have had it. Like, just you seen the video. I showed you what it looks like.
Yeah.
If you show that to a lot of gynecologists, they would have had issues. They probably wouldn't even went through all of that to get that out of there. And if they did try that, they would have probably converted to a vertical or even converted you to a hysterectomy. And if I don't have the confidence, and to that point, you don't really know what it looks like until you get inside, right? So I can't say on an ultrasound or MRI that, oh, that's not that bad. They could do that, and then you get in there, and it's somebody like I just had on Tuesday that had 100 fibroids in there. What you gonna do with that?
Oh, wow.
So if I send that to somebody and they open up and you got over 100 fibroids in there, and I know they're not going to be meticulous enough to get them all out and repaired appropriately, then I'm the bad guy for referring that person to them. So people think it's like, hey, I just want everybody to fly to Chicago to have surgery. No, it's not that. I really wish that there were other options that people could go to, and that's what I'm working on. I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be able to do it all, but until that happens, I kind of have to be, stand on what I'm good at and what I believe in, and just say, hey, this is what I do. This is what I know how to do, you know, and you have to, at the end of the day, trust what you trust. If I needed surgery, I don't give a damn. I'm researching. I'm doing what you do. I'll be the male version of you. I, I talk about you, and I'm just joking with you. We just joke around, but what you're doing is what should be done. Like
Mm-hmm.
asking a trillion questions, and then when you answer all that, ask another trillion until I feel 1000% comfortable that when I go to sleep and I am in my most vulnerable state that I will ever be in my life, that you're going to do the right thing. You're going to do exactly what I think you should do if I was awake and sitting over your shoulder watching you.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's not happening, I'm not going to sleep. I will just have big fibroids until I figure it out. Oh God, this what we on?
Another me.
Oh shit.
Uh,
All good, no worries.
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure the person who I'm thinking about has a similar case to mine. I mean, she has similar symptoms, the heavy bleeding during her periods and stuff. And I've encouraged her to, have a consult with you and everything, but I can't make people do stuff, but
Wow, they all things,
yeah.
I
So,
don't, people's like, he's not, yes, not he that, or just automatically assume or listen or whatever. At this point, I'm not convincing anybody. You know, I'm like, if you are in that bucket and you've heard enough, you should get it. I put enough information out there and I've, been as transparent as I humanly can, as much as I humanly can, and show people what it is. And then from there, you got to decide what you want. You know how many like people inbox, if he had just had this surgery 2 weeks ago, can you please advise me? And I'm like, what am I do? What you want me to do? what would you like me to do now, man? Like we can't rewind the hands of time and fix the shit. Like
yeah.
I feel bad for you. I understand, but you knew I was here. So now trying to get me to fix it after somebody that did some crazy, that's like cola. Somebody go and put all types of perms and chemicals, and you come up in there with an inch of hair over here and this shit over here, and you over there talking about, I got problems, I'll fix this. You stop. What am I doing with this? What am I gonna do? It's the same thing. It's just like, man, you just gotta make logical and good decisions. Like social media is here. People got to utilize it. And if you really want something, go get it. People will fly to the ends of the earth to get cosmetic surgery. And then when
Right.
it comes to stuff like this, they be like, nah, I ain't sure. Okay, whatever. What can you do? You figured it out,
Hmm.
right? You
I did.
figured it out. You figured it out. It wasn't that damn hard. You figured it out and everything went perfectly well, right? And you're
Yeah.
happy. So
Yeah.
it's enough of you around here to show that, like, hey, this is what you should do if you are in the bucket of advanced fibroid disease and you want to have babies. That's it.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah,
And a
that's
lot
cool.
of it don't make themselves as available as you do to your patients. I'm 3 years out the game, and I'm
What you say?
still have. You can't hear me?
Yeah,
You were
you
breaking
just broke
up.
up again.
Okay.
You in that
I said
computer cleaning.
a lot of physicians are not readily available like you are to your patients. Um, Even like I'm 3 years post out, and you still, if I have a question, you don't be like, "Girl, it's been
Yeah,
3 years. Move on."
yeah. No, it's man, at the end of the day, like people kill me with that. Like, that's the whole like hierarchy, celebrity type stuff. People always say like, what happens when you get money and when you get this? I'm the same person all the time. It doesn't matter if I win the lottery tomorrow and I'm a billionaire. Like I will never. I'm a regular person, and I understand people. And I don't think we should ever be too big or too good or whatever to answer questions and just have conversations. Like it's just crazy. It's like people will just just ask me questions or whatever and be like, cool though. And then don't let me have a question, like a legal question or something. I don't, don't ignore me or what have you. I'm just like, yeah, but I can have, but I'm supposed to answer all the questions because it's medicine. You're supposed to have empathy for that. But people just act weird and different about stuff. It's like, man, world life is too short for that. So I just live my life, and it may be tough fault because sometimes I overextend myself to do it, but so be it. That's my peace. It's way more peaceful for me to really be normal and help folks than to try to be, standoffish and just live in my bubble. That just will never be my life.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you're like that. You're very down to earth. So
Appreciate it. You got one more in the chamber?
I don't. Not right now, at least. I mean, if I have any more during the live, I'll put it in the chat.
All right,
That's
all
all
right.
for now.
Tell your husband I said hey.
I will.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, bye.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Next question. How can a woman